the part 2 of the Moses story. The title of this story is Training the Prince. As Jochebed thought over what had happened down there by the river, it slowly dawned upon her that though she had her baby back safe and sound, he didn't really belong to her anymore. This boy with a new name and had a new mother. Someday the princess would send for him and take him away and never give him back again. He would grow up to be not her child, not one of the Hebrews' children, but a prince of Egypt. How long shall I be able to keep him? She must have asked herself over and over again. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, she could not tell. But she made up her mind that during the time she was allowed to keep him, whether long or short, she would give him the best training possible. Knowing that in the place he would meet many evil temptations, she sought to anchor his little heart to God. She taught him to pray and to sing little song of praise over and over again. She told him the story of creation and the fall, and of God's plan of salvation, the sweet and beautiful story that had been handed down from father to son from the days of Adam and Eve. God, she taught him, is a holy God who expects all his children to be God and pure and true. Those who want his blessing must follow his teaching and obey his laws. She told him also about the history of his people and how Abraham had promised that someday they could all be delivered from bondage and take back to Canaan. Then too, she told him of his own wonderful deliverance from death and of his conviction that if he kept loyal and true to God, a great destiny lay ahead of him. All too quickly the years went by. Then one day, when Moses was 12 years old, the fateful message arrived. The princess wanted her son. He was to be brought to the palace at once. What a sad day was that! Mother choking back her sobs as she packed up the few things he would need to take along with him. Father trying hard to hide his grief, Miriam wiping her heart out, Aaron looking glum, not sure whether to be sad or envious. Perhaps some soldier came on his chariot to fetch him. I don't know. Perhaps just Jochebed and Moses walked to the palace together. Somehow, I seems to see them there outside the palace gates. Just before they swung open, the boy's heart full of questioning, the mother's full of fears and sadness. Then came the last goodbyes, the last promise to remember, the last assurance of undying love. As the guards took Moses inside and the gates closed behind him, the great palace must have seemed a very lonely place to him. No doubt his new mother tried to be special kind to him, but somehow it wasn't the same. Probably he cried himself to sleep that night, thinking that he was forever separated from his home and dear ones and could never return to them. But with the morning came new interests. Everywhere he returned there was wonderful things to see. Life here was so different from all he had known in the humble little cottage that had been his home till now. Being a lad of fine appearance exceeding fair, as the Bible tells us, he was soon a favorite in the court. Everybody loves him. The best teacher in the land were brought in to tutor him. He had lessons in mathematics, law, medicine, military science, and many other things until, as time went by, he became learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptian and was mighty in words in the deeds. No longer a boy, Moses was known in the prime of life, stronger of body and keen of mind. He already had the making of a great leader. He could ride a horse, drive a chariot with skill and daring. So well had he applied himself to his studies that there was little about his history, geography, or religion of Egypt that he did not know. All the court indeed All Egypt knew that here was a young man of unusual gift, well able to take Pharaoh's place. And Moses himself was not unaware that he was in direct line to the throne. Someday he knew if he so desired, he could become a ruler of Egypt. Yet, amid all his studies and all his busy life, he never forgot the things his mother had told him in his boyhood. Not a day passed but he thought of God and of what mother had said God wanted him to be and to do. As the years slipped by, he felt more and more out of place in the palace. Deep loyalties which court life and could not change drew him toward his people, now suffering greater hardship than ever. Report of the terrible way the Hebrew slave were being treated reached him from time to time. Sometimes he wondered whether he should go to their aid. He counted the cost of revealing that he was not an Egyptian after all, but belonged to the very people from the Egyptian despised. He knew he would lose his position and his chance for the throne. What should he do? When he said his prayers, he talked with God about it, all asking him for guidance. Then one night he made his decision, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasure of sin for reason, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasure in Egypt. It was a great and noble choice to make and provide to be a turning point in the history of Israel and of the world. That is the end of part 2 of Moses' story. Goodbye! Thanks for watching!